Well, this is some pretty good news if you're a controller player out there, and it's more specifically over on the PC. But if you guys are on console, I do have a little bit of an inference, I believe, that could be good news for you as well. I'm actually excited about this because in the background gameplay that you're seeing right now, I was actually using a controller because I am trying to slowly get my way in to more controller play in Apex Legends. And I know you may be saying, Jay, you've said this before, you said this in the past, we've heard this before. However, I did just hit Iridescent, the highest rank over in Call of Duty, on a controller, and I'm thinking, bro, I should definitely be a controller player at this point. So I'm really working to try to get the best settings possible, and I've been talking to a lot of Apex pros that use the controller specifically at a very high level to see which settings are going to be the best for me. Especially after today's news, I'm pretty excited about why you guys may be excited. Don't forget, today's the last day to enter for the Ash Heirloom. All you got to do is like, comment, and subscribe. We are picking the winner tonight on stream, so we'll be live somewhere around 9:30 or so if you guys want to tune in to see who wins. So our topic for today, I got to be honest with you. Firstly, I feel like I should apologize because I should have talked about this or spoke about this a couple of days ago, but I thought this was a literal troll. I thought this was a joke. I thought there was no validity to this. I thought it was like just all a big joke and a hoax and nothing to look into, and like maybe a farm for impressions. So I didn't even think to talk about this until I asked the person today flat out, because I saw more people were discussing it, and he said no, it was not a joke. I was being dead serious about this. So first off, there was a troll that was a retweet from Garrett that just kind of got my interest back in it again. So I decided to reach out to the guy, and Garrett basically said, just got off with my phone, or off the phone with my rep over at EA and Respawn. Kissing your dad on the lips is fine, so keep crying all you salty babies because daddy is okay. So Garrett, obviously the king of trolls, right? I expected this from Garrett, but the retweet was from an original artist as District. Now this guy is a YouTuber for Apex Legends. I think he's an Apex Pred as well, does a lot of like, you know, tips and trick videos and stuff like that. So obviously this guy is a pretty decent controller player. He's actually pretty good at the game. And his original tweet was, I just got off the phone with my rep over at EA and Respawn. Immediately I thought this was a joke because I was just thinking, okay, obviously this is, you know, he doesn't have a rep over there. Some people do, and I know that that's to be true, but I just didn't think, you know, a lot of times when you hear that, it's just a farm, right, for impressions. But it was actually true, and he said CFG tab strafing for controller is completely fine, so keep crying you salty babies because daddy is parched and needs a drink. Literally crying over an input that's using an exploit that you yourself are using. So like I said, a couple of days went by and I decided to DM him and ask him what like if it was actually true. And he literally said, no, it was all serious. I was not trolling at all. I asked about it and if it was not allowed. And they literally told me that because it is identical to the mechanic of tap strafing on mouse and keyboard, it is allowed. You're doing the same, you know, exploit kind of thing that they're using, because tap strafing even, you know, shouldn't even be in the game, period. It's not even supposed to be accessible to mouse and keyboard. According to his person over there, using like a scroll wheel for tap strafing on mouse and keyboard for, you know, Apex Legends is as equally as bad as setting up a config on your Steam configurations on your controller to do a normal tap strafe on controller. Now he also goes on to say, like, obviously, you know, don't do neo strafing and all of that stuff. I'm not saying set up those kind of configurations, but when it comes to just genuinely tap strafing, right, the old basic tap strafe, they said that even over at EA and Respawn, you are allowed to do it on controller. So you can go set up the configs all you want in Steam and perform the tap strafe because it's as equal as doing it on mouse and keyboard. So says him about, so says his rep. So it's like, you know, I know a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who said this. But like I said, when I originally DM'd him to ask if it was a troll, he said no, I was dead serious about it. And I was kind of surprised that they would actually back up tap strafing. I really thought that they were going to be like, you know, like, no, we don't want anyone setting up configurations or anything like that. It's definitely not allowed. But they seem to obviously agree with it and say that tab strafing on controller is not a bad thing, and you're more than welcome to do it, only though if you're on PC, because if you're on console, you unfortunately do not have the option to do these configurations like you could on Steam. Now I'm kind of surprised that there's not some type of controller software out there that allows you to do configurations on your controller so that you guys on console could do this. However, this is the point I wanted to address as well. So not only has Respawn apparently like backed up that you're allowed to tap strafe, or that it's fine to do it, it's not that big of a deal, you know, everybody, if you have the availability to do it, feel free to do it. but they're also kind of making it seem acceptable that maybe if they're fine with it over on PC, I don't see why it would be a problem over on console. Will there ever be a world where they open this up to console as well? And you may be saying, well, like, how exactly would they do that? Well, we all look at Steam configurations as like the only way to do it, right? Think about if Apex added a support of like a third keybind, or maybe even doing dual keybind. So whenever you go to set your keybinds up in Apex to attach X input to, you know, Y command, what if they set up a system where you were actually allowed to set up, you know, your keybind for the button A to 3 different things? I mean, that actually could be a possibility. And the reason I know it's a possibility is because in PC, you may not be able to open up Apex and click, you know, left click for fire and left click for something else, because it'll automatically delete that input and say, oh, you've already used this, you know, keybind somewhere else. However, if you go into the game files though, you can force certain things to do 2 things at once. So you can actually go into the game files and write the config a certain way so that you can actually have scroll wheel to do W and jump at the same time, or reload at the same, or whatever you want it to do. You can literally attach it to multiple different things. But if you obviously go into the game settings and try to do that, it'll erase it and say that, you know, you're not allowed to do multiple commands like this. But if you go into the game files, you can. So there could be something I'm missing, because obviously I would imagine I'm not outsmarting the developers here or giving them an idea that, you know, just baffles them. I would assume they would know this information if it was just that easy. So their excuse for many of things like, you know, looting while moving and also tap strafing is that it's not actually supposed to be in the game, and apparently it was a bug in the game, and that you can't really just recreate this bug to bring that feature to other places as well. It has me wondering what's exactly different from the console version of Apex Legends to the PC version, where you wouldn't be allowed to go into those configurations and set up multiple keybinds. And is a multiple keybind feature something that Apex could actually implement into the future so that console could have the access to tap strafing? And if it is, it would seem like tap strafing may come in the future there, because they seem to be very open to the idea of tap strafing being okay and not a problem to do it on controller on PC. Now, of course, most of this is specifically talking about public matches, because obviously I know competitive rule sets have like a lot of details in them. You're not allowed to abuse configs and stuff like that, and obviously neo strafing is not allowed, he also said. But basically we're just talking about the normal tap strafe like you would see a mouse and keyboard. The only thing I'm not sure about exactly is like super gliding and stuff. Someone on the competitive Apex Reddit thread actually went on this big post as well, saying a content creator claims that CFG tap strafing for controller is fine according to their rep over at EA and Respawn, and he even quotes the same tweet that he does as well, and he goes on to say, like, how will this affect competitive? Well, as of now it doesn't, because it's already overran by people that unfortunately are using this in the rank system. However, most tourneys require configs to be turned off, including the ALGS, so like it kind of balances that out already. But also, like, the final assumptions here are basically, you know, EA and Respawn have given no official communication about this, so you're kind of just having to take this guy District at his word. But like I said, I did DM him to ask him if he was serious or if it was troll, and he literally said no. I literally talked to my rep at Respawn and EA, and he came back to me and said that you can tap strafe on controller. And then also someone said Respawn should be giving us an answer on this. Obviously this is a hot topic right now. You know, configurations are really big in the news, and people want to know what is the future of this. Why is there no communication on such an important topic? Obviously people are looking for an answer here. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say down in the comment section below, and like the video if you guys did enjoy, and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to stay up to date all things Apex Legends news related. And until the next time, I will see you all later, Gators.